Welcome back to our coverage of the Iowa Republican caucus. The former president, Donald Trump, projected as the winner.
Let's bring in political strategist Steve Schmidt right now. He is the founder of The Warning, a Substack newsletter, YouTube channel, and podcast. Good evening to you, Steve. Thanks so much for being with us. As you're watching this come down, I don't think there are any huge surprises, but what's your takeaway so far? What are you watching for?
Well, I think when you look at the results and if they hold with Donald Trump north of 50%, it's not too early to declare him the de facto nominee of the Republican Party, an institution that he controls and has controlled lock, stock, and barrel. And so what you see is a race for second place that right now seems pretty close. But when you look at both Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley, they share fundamentally the same problem, though it's worse for DeSantis. There's no place for him to win or where his campaign has a rationale for where he can win after today. Not in New Hampshire, not in South Carolina, not in Nevada, not in his home state in Florida. In order to be the Republican nominee, in the end, you have to win a state. Nikki Haley has a rationale that says, hey, I may be able to win one state in New Hampshire, but her lackluster showing this evening, as it's shaping up right now, would seem to suggest she's not going to have much bounce coming out of Iowa, which doesn't set her up well to make a run at Donald Trump, who's just had a huge historic victory this evening in the Iowa caucuses.
So Steve, what does it mean? And if you were listening to Mike Morrow a second ago, the former Secretary of State here, I asked him the question, at best, 157,000 people may have voted in the caucuses tonight. There are suburban counties that have 3-4 times that number of voters who will be voting nationwide, but because of the way politics go, the headlines will say Donald Trump wins. So what does this really mean? And how do Democrats look at this and say, so what?
Well, it'd be foolish for Democrats to look at this and say, so what, because of the insistence of Democrats that January 6th was an epic event in the history of the country. And if that is true, it requires you to recognize that the movement that led that event, that inspired that event, that incited that event, is better organized, better funded, and stronger today than it was the morning of that event. And what you're seeing is something that has never been seen in American history. There's never been a presidential candidate who has overtly said, I am running to punish my opponents. I'm running to achieve retribution against my enemies. I'm running to suspend the Constitution if it becomes my whim to do so. That elections are real if I win and not so if I don't. We've never seen that. And there's an electoral response to it. A majority of Republicans participating in the caucus, which is a sliver of America, and is not certainly anywhere near the mean point of American opinion, is nevertheless making its voice heard. And right now, as has been the case, and as Trump pointed out in comments earlier, he is defeating Joe Biden in every poll that's a statistically valid, serious survey of public opinion that's been published on a 6-month basis.
So from your standpoint, Steve, looking at this and looking just the runaway lead that Donald Trump has, what do you think the Democrats should do for strategy to take him on with this much overwhelming support?
Well, there is something that is not talked about out loud, and it's this. There are a lot of blind quotes that have taken place over the last 6 months in newspapers from people around President Biden, around the campaign, around the White House, that have all said, we want Trump. we want Trump to be the candidate because Trump is the Republican that the president most easily beats. And that was a great plan, but that plan does not shape up as reality when judged against the polls. So, one of the things that has been true on a constant basis since 2016 in all of Trump's races is whomever the race is about is the person who loses the race. In the last week of the Clinton-Trump race, it became about Hillary Clinton thanks to James Comey's intervention. And when that happened, Donald Trump won narrowly. The race in 20 was substantially about Trump. He lost fairly narrowly. And right now, Biden is losing because Trump has made the race about Biden, and Biden needs to make it about Trump. But he also needs to offer a vision for something that's better. And so there were recent focus groups that took place, and the word that voters associated with President Biden and his campaign was nothing. And so you can't run a campaign on nothing. And so the articulation of better is a real matter of urgency for the Biden campaign, which started in speeches at Valley Forge, at Mother Emanuel AME Church in Charleston, South Carolina, to start to articulate some of the important issues concerning democracy that Donald Trump, in their view, affronts. But so many of these voters are responding on an economic message, and they seem to be rejecting the Bidenomics pitch that they have laid out thus far at the foundational level of the campaign.
Yeah, somebody described this to me that Democrats are saying, would you please pass me the Palomers? And Republicans are saying, would you please pass the jelly? Political strategist Steve Schmidt. Steve, as always, thanks for being with us. We're going to be checking back in with you later tonight. And we're back next.